Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kwame Opa Weeks, and I'm here with David Colette, the Assistant Minister for Technical Services. Welcome to this interview, one-on-one interview with Minister Mabutu Vla Nyimpan. Well, at the inception of the Weah-led government, infrastructural development was actually placed at the top of the regime manifesto, with road connectivity and construction as a key component to boost the nation's trade and commerce. As you all know, it can be recorded that the government of Liberia and the ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development, that is the EBID, signed a loan agreement of US $50 million for the construction of a coastal highway road as part of the efforts to achieve its goal in connecting the nation on a larger scale. While the government of the Republic of Liberia continues to make strides to achieve these goals, it is yet battered by mountains and, barrage, flurries of challenges as some major road networks in the nation's capital and rural parts are yet to be completed or refurbished. Well, amid all of these challenges, as well as progress made so far, the Liberian News Agency, that is LENA, is now sitting with the Public Works Minister, Mabutu Vla Nyimpan, who will extensively explain in detail all what you need to know regarding the nation's drive to achieve its goal of infrastructural development. Welcome, sir.
Well, thank you, gentlemen and lady. We are very pleased to have you come to visit with us here at the Ministry of Public Works. We believe that Lina is doing an excellent job.
Thank you.
Keeping our people informed about developments in country, and even those of our people who are out there in the diaspora, keeping them informed about our activities, about the activities of government, because the people have a right to know as to what their government is doing and what is it that their government is also planning to do that will bring relief to them and that will help to enhance socio-economic development. So we are very pleased that you can come to sit with us this morning.
I know.
To talk about the road sector of our country and infrastructure development as a whole. We believe that this interaction will provide an opportunity for our people to be more enlightened as to what is happening around us. So thank you, and you are most welcome.
People knowing the man Vla Nyimpan, before we delve into all of this, I know someone already called you a workaholic. Tell us, what's the current status of our road network?
Well, thank you, and I think this is a very good way to begin this process. Mm-hmm. The road network of Liberia comprises basically of about 13,000 kilometers. That is the road network, the entire road network,
right, across
the 15 counties of our country. Now, out of the 13,000 kilometers of roads in our network, it is sad, Kwame, to inform you and to inform our people that the most of the roads in our network are unpaved. They are laterite roads. In most instances, it's very, very difficult to vehicle or traffic, difficult to ordinary passengers.
For the layman watching, when you say lateral road, I know what you mean, but you care to...
No, when we say lateral road, we're talking about what? What we call gravel road.
Okay.
Road that is not paved. So most of the roads in our network of 13,000 kilometers, most of them are unpaved. And so if you were to look at the data that we have in-house, you realize that we have about a little under 1,000 kilometers out of the 13,000 kilometers. Just about 1,000 kilometers of roads are paved in our country.
Wow.
This picture clearly tells you that the issue of bad roads in our country is a serious issue. In fact, when we appeared before the legislature, we made it clear to the representatives of our people that the issue of bad roads in our country is a threat to national security. The bad roads will make it difficult for us to access health facilities.
Right.
Bad roads will make it difficult for us to transport our produce from farm to market. Bad roads will even make it difficult, under some circumstances, for students to be able to access the schools. So you see, this is the kind of situation we have. So what we've inherited as a country at this particular juncture is a road network that is bedeviled by serious, serious problems. Even where we say the roads are paved, they are challenged. And this is not just in Monserrato County, this is not just in Monrovia, but this is across the country, from county to county, from community to community. Our people will talk about bad roads.
So tell us what
the
government...
status,
right.
The status is precarious. The status of the road network of our country is precarious. So it now moves us to the next step.
Right.
You know, because this government was elected on the basis of change. That yes, once elected, we will institute change. And not just change in terms of the faces that occupy positions.
Correct.
Not just change in terms of the nomenclature of the ruling party, but substantive change that will positively impact, you know, the well-being of our people. And so if we say the status of the road network is troublesome, if we say the status of the road network is problematic, the next question will now be, what is it that we are doing to address the situation? What is it that we are doing to redress the situation, in fact?
And we're gonna we're gonna walk you one by one for our viewers.
Good.
Okay. Before my colleague comes in, what has the government, this current government, what has it done? And I don't want to be like, okay, I inherit, you know, the past government and so forth. Tell me what you're doing, because now your honeymoon is over. Someone watching, it'll be like, okay, my man, you've been in power now for 3 years. What has this government done to alleviate some of these challenges you just talked about?
And so in the very beginning, because of the status of the road network, Mr. President, upon his election, made a commitment that, look, roads connectivity, infrastructure development is going to be the hallmark of my administration.
Correct.
We will connect our communities. We will pave our community roads. We will pave our secondary roads. We will pave our primary roads. We will connect our counties. This is the agenda of the infrastructure development of our country. So, what have we been able to do? Because if we say that there must be a paradigm shift, then we must be able to show practical results.
You're right.
As to what we've been able to do. And I say this to you, Kwame. What we've been able to do in the first 3 years, we've embarked on an impressive, and perhaps, if you like to say, ambitious roads connectivity program. Building new roads, paving roads where people thought there would be no paved roads, going into the slum communities, giving hope to our people.
Correct.
That once you live here, we will bring road to you. And not just ordinary roads, but paved roads. So if we were to just begin in Monrovia, for example, before we get to the bigger roads, you know, before we get to the primary roads and the secondary roads, let's look at our community roads. Communities that were forgotten about. And I'd like to begin with the slum community, called the Doe community. This community is adjacent to the popular community called Clarota.
Right.
And just the principal street passing through the Doe community, connecting Clarota, has been in a deplorable state. In fact, there has been no road since independence.
Wow.
Can you imagine what the people in those communities have been subjected to over the past many, many years? The first thing, we're able to pass a paved road in that community.
Yeah,
people living in that community used to roll their trousers, roll their skirts to be able to leave their homes and access their workplaces.
Kids
and
going to
access
school.
their schools,
right,
and access hospitals. But today, we've been able to pass a first-class paved road in our community. And not just the Doe community or the Clarota community, but if you went to Logan Town, you'll see what I'm talking about. If you went to the Gardnersville Belt, the entire Gardnersville Road network, Tusafi, patient sharp. The New Georgia Gulf. Places that people thought there would be no roads. People had no hope. We were able to go in those communities and connect those communities.
Right.
And we are not just connecting the communities for the sake of connecting communities. We are connecting those communities first to improve the living standard of our people, and second, to be able to stimulate socio-economic development. And those are not the only communities in Monrovia. If you went to Johnsonville, the Pipeline Road, the Archbishop Michael Francis Road, if you went to the rehab community, the road network has been improved. The road network has been upgraded. Now, we have decided that this is not going to be a Monrovia affair. And so the pavement of streets is not restricted to Monrovia, it's decentralized.
Right.
So if you went to Greenville, San County today, the streets are being paved. If you went to Bopolu in Bapolu County, the streets are being paved. In Banga, Bon County, in Buchanan, Grand Bassa County, in Barclayville, in Sastown, in Grand Cru County. And this is just under 3 years. But this is to show, this is to let all of us know that the government is focusing on roads connectivity. Now, beyond community roads, there are other bigger projects that we are looking at. Very big projects. Because, take for instance the southeast of our country. Over the years, people who live in the southeast feel very, very neglected. They feel very, very isolated.
Especially during this time of the season.
During this,
right.
During the rainy season. Why do they feel isolated? Because of bad roads. During the rainy season, about half of our country is cut off. So Liberia is divided. So yes, we are not only emphasizing on maintaining the lateral roads, we are also emphasizing on paving these major highways. So as we speak, from Banga to Salaye, there is an ongoing project that is targeting the pavement of that road.
What do you say to your critics, talking about all these community roads? What do you say to your critics, and one of them having to be lawmaker Solomon George, that most of these roads are low standards? What are some of when you address that, I want to know also, what are the safety standards you're talking to these companies that are building these roads, especially sometimes you see they have steel rods pointing out. I was in a community once and a little child fell on one of those and all of that. What are you doing about these things, and what do you say to your critics?
Sometimes it's difficult to respond to people who don't understand what is required in road construction.
Okay.
Road construction is a process. I urge them to please pass judgment when the project is concluded.
Okay.
But during the construction period, obviously you'll see steel protruding. During the construction period, obviously there will be issues. But once the road or the project is declared completed, we take responsibility to say to our people that yes, it is completed consistent with the designs, consistent with the specifications, and it has the best standards. But passing judgment during construction period, firstly, is premature, and indicates that our people, that those who are making these comments do not understand, what it entails. Yes, I'll be the first to admit that we've had issues with poor design standards.
Right.
This is an issue that we have decided to address, and that we are addressing through ensuring that we have effective supervision of these projects in construction.
What do you do? Kick those components out when you realize that?
Well, since we've come in, we have not had a situation with a road being declared completed, final certification issued,
right,
and then
not meeting the standards.
And not meeting the standards. We haven't had that situation. But I'm speaking, in terms of what we've seen holistically before this administration. And what we are trying to do, and what we are efforting to do, it's not to fault what happened before,
right,
but it's to use that experience to improve on it and make sure that we don't have a repeat of this kind of situation. That we have what we call value for money. that whatever we put in there is what
the taxpayers can get their money.
So as I was saying about the major rules.
Mr. Minister, our fiscal envelope is tight. Our revenue envelope is small. The government has had tremendous economic challenges. And I want to know who is behind this road construction. What are the roads our international partners are funding? What are the roads the government is funding? Where are we moving with that?
And when it comes to road funding of road projects, there is a synergy between the government of Liberia and our international development partners. You know, road works are so very expensive. And given the decadence that we find in this sector, that is the road sector, as a consequence of the many, many years of neglect, we have so many bad roads. Right. Our national budget itself cannot absorb what it will take to be able to do all of our roads. Right. And so the government, in partnership with development partners, have been responding to the improvement of the road network. Right. So all of the community roads in our country are being funded 100% by the government of Liberia.
Taxpayers' money.
By the taxpayers. Your taxes, mine taxes, the taxes of our brothers and sisters out there. You know. So whenever you see a community road going through your community or going through your district,
that's your own money.
Say to yourself that the taxes that are paid are at work. Again, this is to demonstrate what Mr. President has said, that we use the money of the Liberian people to build roads for the Liberian people. Even if you were to go to some of the major road projects we are talking about, they are not fully funded by development partners. There is always a contribution from the government of Liberia towards
that effort,
the funding of that project. Now, I'll give you an example. We are about to begin a new project, the Senegal Local project. The government of Liberia is responsible to pay 100% the cost for the resettlement of individuals or structures that will be found within the right of way. That is close to $5 million.
Even if they were there illegally, you would still pay them off?
Well, you know,
they're squatters.
You know, if they are squatters, it's a different kind of situation. You know, yes, and the payment for resettlement tends to address a number of issues. First, the psychological impact to that person who has been living there, whether legally or illegally, for a period of time.
Okay.
That is something that we also try to compensate for. So, but the compensation varies on the basis of the status that you have to be on that project.
Whether legal or squatting something.
Yeah. But if you're talking about a major project, say like the Ganta to Yekepa roads, these are areas where people have been living all of these years. So the land authority now will have to go in and establish, you know, we also have community land, you know.
Right.
And so all of these factors are taken into consideration. But the point that I am making is that for all of the projects that are funded by our international partners, the government of Liberia is responsible to pay 100% the cost of the relocation of project-affected persons. In addition to that, we also make a contribution so as to try to meet up with the counterpart funding. This again is indicative.
So are you saying that it's not always 100% payment for some of the work our counterparts are doing, or they ask you to provide some assistance in the funding?
What is very clear in most of these road projects is that we as a government take full responsibility for the payment of project-affected persons.
Okay.
In addition to that, if it is a loan, for example, the cost of the road, the loan may not be able to cover the entire cost of that road. Government will now make a contribution. Okay. In cases where it is a grant that covers the entire, like the Somalia Drive Road, now the Japan Freeway, now that is a grant.
A Japanese grant.
From the government and people of Japan. So that is being fully funded by the Japanese government.
Okay. I heard you the other time say you struggle, especially when it comes to compensation. Most of these guys, citizens, are compensated, and they take that money, you know, and go back and annex, they add another structure. Is this something you want to explain?
And this is a very sad commentary. Let's take as an example the Somalia Drive Road from Freeport to the red light.
Right.
On this road, which is about 11.2 kilometers, you will notice that we've been able to pay all those who are in the right of way of the road.
You pay them out.
They've been compensated fully. The government owes nobody. But over time, during the construction period of the road, people begin to come back on the road.
Those same people?
Sometimes the same people, sometimes others who will see the land being vacant, they will come in. The situation now is, what are you doing as a Ministry of Public Works?
Right.
That is when you see our zoning people move in there. First, to stop you. If need be, confiscate your tools. And if it goes to the extreme, we demolish
the
structures. But this is a serious challenge. Where people having received money will go back to the very site for which they've been paid. But we are dealing with this squarely, and we will not countenance anyone who has been paid going back on the road and just relaxing and thinking that is now your new property. No, we certainly will not countenance that.
Mr. Minister, there is this big talk about the road fund. Do you care to tell us what the road fund is, and how is the road fund helping to address some of the challenges we face with our road connectivity?
Well, the Office of the National Road Fund was established by the legislature in about around 2016. And since that time, the Road Fund Office has been grappling with issues of operations. So the Road Fund Office was never fully operationalized until this administration came into place.
Okay.
And so one of the first things that Mr. President did, once he declared road connectivity as being the fulcrum of the PAPD,
right,
he said, look, we have to find money that will be able to support our program of road connectivity. And so the Road Fund Office was operationalized, a road fund manager was named. And so for every gallon of petroleum product that is brought into the country, there is a fee, a levy that is paid, and that comes directly
in the road fund
account, and that is used for road construction. So this is how the road fund operates. So as we speak, all of the road works in country that government is either funding directly or that government is contributing to, all of the funding comes through the National Road Fund. And the Road Fund is doing very well. The office is, like I said, fully operationalized. This year, we were able to, despite COVID, we were able to hit the targeted revenue. And so the Road Fund is on course. But is the Road Fund enough to address
the enormous challenges,
the deficit in the road sector? I would certainly say no. It is certainly not enough. An assessment was done here where it was established that to be able to address the kind of deficit we have, we would need not less than 3 billion.
Wow.
So that's why you see in the past, had we paid the kind of attention we are now paying to roads, we would not be where we are today. But can you imagine, over 170 years of our independence, we have under 850 kilometers of roads paved, which means about 5 kilometers of roads per year.
Wow.
So how much have we
break
paid?
it down for in layman's terms? What do we have in terms of hours of drive? What that particular distance, the 850, can cover, and all of that?
Now, if you talk about a road network of 13,000 kilometers, and you don't have 1,000 kilometers paved over 170 years, I mean, just that picture alone tells you the past state in which we
talk
find
about
ourselves.
around 5 to 8 hours drive.
It sounds terrible.
Now, if I have to, take for instance, if you're right here, leaving a river to go to the canal, then before the pavement of the road, you know the situation. Sometimes 4, 5, 6 hours. Today, to Buchanan is about 2 hours.
Yep.
And And this is the same situation that we have across most of the counties in our country. So these major projects that we are about to talk about are projects that are being implemented to bring relief to the travelers, to stimulate our economy, and to help our people.
So, Mr. Minister, to put small icing on the cake, the Weah government, the Weah administration has been, very serious about paving road and reaching its target per year. In terms of numbers,
say is that the PAPD, which is the Bible in terms of our development, socioeconomic development, the PAPD requires that during the 6 years of this administration, that we will effort to pave about 500 kilometers of roads. That's what the PAPD calls for.
What is 6 years period?
Over the 6-year period. This is our target. As I speak to you, we are working on about 100% completed. Ganta to Yekipa has been paved as we speak. Sanikwele to Lokatu is about to begin. Medina to Rabos Post is about to begin. Grand Cru to Sino is about to begin. So when you put all of these roads and do a summation of the kilometers, we are now doing about 400 kilometers of roads at the midpoint. So we can expect and safely say that yes, first they will be able to meet target. And the target is what is enshrined in the PAPD.
In the manifesto.
And so hopefully exceed target.
If the Republic of Liberia can pave 850 kilometers of roads in over 170 years, in the same Republic of Liberia, under this administration, will pave 500 kilometers of roads in 6 years. You can only expect
what Liberia will be at
what will happen in the next 10 years if we continue along this same trend.
Liberians will not be spectators in their own economy. These were very powerful lines on January 22nd when the president delivered that firing speech at the Samuel Kayonde's Sports Complex. When it comes to roads, are Liberians partakers of the economy or they are spectators?
Well, I would certainly say
if they're partakers, you care to say what those companies are?
I will certainly say, without any fear of contradiction, that as per the records that are available, Liberian construction contractors are more involved in construction activities under this administration than at any other point in time in the entire history of our country. And this is so because we are committed to making true what the president has promised the Liberian people. What did he promise? On the first day when he was taking his oath of office, he promised and committed to the Liberian people that they will no longer be spectators in the economy of their own country. And so here in the road sector and at the Ministry of Public Works, we have taken deliberate steps to ensure that Liberian construction contractors, in fact, one of the first things we did was to sign a memorandum of understanding with the Association of Liberian Construction Contractors to help them build their capacity, that we will provide opportunities for the capacity to be built. So today across the country, go to these projects we are talking about, Liberian companies. We have more Liberian companies now involved, not just in lateral works, but even in pavement, whether asphalt pavement or concrete pavement. Our people are involved.
Are these companies competitive? Because based on what the chatters we hear, there are critics out there, especially when the road, I listen to radio, there were callers talking about the current road from Vytown all the way to Douala. A portion there is beautifully done. The one from the bridge moving forward is kind of, bumpy and all of that. They criticize our companies. You care to talk about that?
And this kind of criticism is not endemic to construction activities,
okay,
or to the construction sector, to the road sector. If you're on a football field, spectators criticize players,
right,
as if they can even do better. Here in country, people pass judgment on things that they don't understand. People pass judgment on things that they don't understand. But give the professionals a chance to do the work. Yes, people will say, oh, well, it has been a long time. They pave here, they can't open the roads. Oh, they should have done this, or they should be doing this. They don't understand the totality of the underlying circumstances. So yes, this is part of human nature, that people will criticize, especially things that they don't understand.
right.
And you do well if you just take up your time and ask questions. But again, sometimes we don't blame them. It is the anxiety. Many years of decadence in the road sector. Many years of neglect of the road sector. So once they see something happening, they want it to get completed, in time that is far less than the stipulated time.
Right.
So we do understand their anxiety. We will try to cope with the anxiety. That is why, if you went, for example, to pipeline roads, for those of us who've traveled on that road, people in that community, they will tell you the kind of nightmarish situation that they were confronted with on a daily basis. Today, that road is about 85% completed, and you can see what is happening. A lot of construction projects going on.
Right.
People are building.
Homes are being constructed.
This is an enhancement of socio-economic development. And that is why we say, we've always maintained, that the road to development begins with the development of roads. So Mr. President is right. This government is right to emphasize road construction. Because if we don't do so, we are doomed. If we don't do so, we are doomed. And so these major projects I'm talking about, Ganta to Yekepa, Sanikwede to Lokatuo, Ganta to Tapeta, Tapeta to Zwedru, Banga to Salaye, Salaye to Konya, Konya to Vonjima, Vonjima to Medikoma. Now these are roads for which we have funding already.
Have they started?
Oh yes, they've started. Banga to Salaye is ongoing. And the thing about road construction,
We're going to talk about.
Okay. The thing about road construction is that you don't start today and do everything the same day.
Right. Road
construction is a process. But the most important thing in this process is to have secured funding.
Secure funding. The gateway to the Liberian, one of the gateways to the Liberian economy is the Ravos International Airport. If you look at that great facility, it's more. So we just want to apologize to our viewers. We're having a network problem here. So to come back, let me walk you back to that question. The Ravos International Airport is the gateway to the Liberian economy. People coming out of the airport after viewing that beautiful facility, they come outside back to Monrovia, and here they're driving, seeing things that that do not match what they saw at the airport, because your airport tells you what the country is. You already traveled the world. Now you got the loan from East International, right? Is it East?
Yes, that is accessing the loan.
That's accessing the loan for this particular road. You care to talk about this particular road, the loan, and all the controversies was around this, and when do we expect to see boots on the ground, real movement?
Well, you see, the RI road project is a project we believe is long overdue. Firstly, that 45-kilometer road is not representative of our country, Liberia, the oldest independent African country. When you arrive at the airport and you get on that road coming to Monrovia, I mean, sometimes if this is your first time in Liberia, I can only imagine that you'll be asking yourself, but where are we going to? even the smaller countries in our region have better roads connecting the airport to their cities. And most of our previous presidents in recent times were all convinced that this road should be treated as a priority. William Arrow Talbot, when he was president, he talked about doing the Rawlsville Road. When Doe became president, he talked about doing the Rawlsville Road. When Mr. Taylor became president, he talked about doing the Rawlsville Road. When Manaseli became president, she talked about doing the Rawlsville Road. Now, all of these commitments and discussions and talks about doing the Rawlsville Road will tell you
the importance
that all of the leaders of our country are in consonance when it comes to the need for the development of that corridor. But yes, they've all talked about it. The difference now is this administration of His Excellency President Weah also talk about it. But beyond talking about it, President Weah has moved a step forward, and which is a significant step forward. That is, talk about it and do it. So we are doing it as we speak. Now, we've said, look, not only will we reconstruct the road, but we will also expand the road into a modern 4-lane highway with all of the features that you can find on any major corridor of such magnitude. And to make this true, Mr. President, in fact, the entire government was at Unification Town to break grounds for the construction and expansion of the 45-kilometer RI road. To make this happen, the legislature granted a concession to a company called East International to source, principally, to source the revenue, which the government will have to subsequently pay back, of course.
Okay.
But to source the revenue that will fund this project.
So where are we in terms of
East International? In fact, the first tranche of this money has arrived in country as we speak. You will notice if you went to that road that we've begun the demolition of structures that are in the right of way, and these are all the necessary steps that are taken. You don't just see pavement beginning on day one.
Right.
The necessary surveys will have to be done, especially when the road is being expanded. So first, we'll create the right of way so that we'll have unhindered movement of the machines. So that has taken place. We are now paying people who are in the right of way. Now, the question you asked earlier about people who are squatters, it will interest you to know that 99% of the people who live in Unification City are all squatters. Now, there's some of them are within the right of way of the road. Are we now suggesting that because they are squatters who've been there for decades,
they don't get
and they don't have title to the land, so government should just remove them without compensating? Mr. President has said no, that we have to be sensitive to the plight of our people. And so as we move along the route, demolishing structures, we pay first and foremost. So there is payment before demolition. And all this is intended to create the necessary atmosphere for the construction and expansion of that road. So yes, East will now be the umbrella organization because it is East that has the concession and it is East that is accessing the money. So they will serve as an umbrella for the consortium of international construction companies that will do the actual technical work on the field. So the Ministry of Public Works is very, very clear on this, that there will be value for money on that road, that the road will be built consistent with the best standards, so that at least this road that all of our presidents have talked about, and this road that has been implemented by His Excellency President Weah will become something that all of us as Liberians will be proud of And that when people come into our country, they'll say, yes, truly, genuine transformation has taken place in the infrastructural sector of this country.
Mr. Minister, the Logatour, Sanikole Logatour corridor is an important corridor because it will help create socio-economic activities in that area. People from Nima County are very strong when it comes to making farm and all that. And also in terms of tourism, the Rawalsport corridor, Medina Rawalsport corridor, is an important corridor because of the Piso and other features in that part of the country. Do you care to talk about also the Ganta Yekepa corridor, which is also very important in terms of reaching out to the other parts of Nima County, which is a very populous county?
I'll tell you something. Firstly, let's talk about the Ganta to Yekepa Road. Project that is currently ongoing under this administration.
Okay.
Pavement has begun.
Oh wow.
That corridor between Yekepa and Ganta has been a major corridor for many, many decades. All of us know that some of the best iron ore was extracted from that region of our country. During that period, Liberia generated a lot of resources.
Yeah.
Yet still, we neglected that road corridor. Today, it is this government that is taking the responsibility to be able to do this. Now, what is happening? The road is being funded by both ArcelorMittal and the government of Liberia.
Okay.
ArcelorMittal is paying about 40 million. The government of Liberia has paid. In fact, the government has paid already. We've paid about 13 million.
Wow.
For that road to be done. So that project is ongoing. It's from Ganta through Sanikole to Yekepa. Now, out of Sanikole, this road project is being funded again by the African Development Bank, the European Investment Bank, the European Union, and the government of Liberia. In fact, that's the latest. That's a project for which we broke grounds in December, and that project, the camps for the contractors have been built. The camp for the consultant has been built, and so as ensuring the development of the road sector, the dividing line is just our ability to be able to begin the project and implement it. So where are we on this project? The government of Liberia has been able to identify a financing institution.
Okay.
And so the government has concluded the financing arrangements for the Medina to Rawalsport Road. What is now left is the completion of the procurement process for the selection of the contractor. That process is in its final stages, where all of the documentations have been presented and forwarded to the PPCC, the Public Procurement Concession Commission. They are now doing due diligence on all of the documents. Now, within a fortnight, we will receive from the PPCC and no objection to award this contract to the contractor who has been selected after the bidding process. So we are at the tail end of beginning the project.
Wow.
The finances have been secured. The procurement for the contractor is now in its final lapse. So we can certainly.
Okay,
Yeah, go ahead.
And so that's it about the Medina Rawalsport Road.
Procurement process.
Procurement process is final stage. We are hoping that within the next 2 weeks, and perhaps sooner, the PPCC will be submitting to us an approval and no objection to proceed to award the contract. Once that is done, we'll break ground for the project and implementation begins thereafter. So again, this will help especially in the western region of our country, to enhance road connectivity. Because you know that from Monrovia to Bowater side, has been connected. Somehow to Tottenbrook has been connected. But because of the location of our posts, we will have to connect from the main intersection, which is around Medina, into our spots. And once this is done, that will be a major boost for the western corridor of our country. So, and another thing that we like to talk about, which we believe is important as we talk about the road sector, is that road project coming out of Grand Crew County into Sino County. This is the first project along the coastal corridor.
That's exactly where we were.
Much has been talked about the coastal corridor. Others believe that this was not going to be possible. In the very beginning, at the onset, this government was very concerned about the deplorable state of our roads across the country, specifically in the southeast, because of the many years of neglect we talk about. And so we went all out there looking for loans. In some cases, we succeeded. In other cases, we failed. I mean, we didn't lose anything. Perhaps the only thing that we lost was the fact that we didn't get a loan.
And time.
And that, again, was not our fault. It's like, I like to do it this way. It's like, I like to pay my son's school fees, or you like to pay your son's school fees, but you don't have the resources. So you decided that you will go bring it to the community level. You decided you go to a credit club in the community. No, funny from there. So as we were discussing, some of the loan agreements were successful, others were not. And this is all part of the process. This is all part of the process, with no loss to government, especially in terms of expending financial resources. But we succeeded in other areas. And the areas in which we succeeded, we are now beginning to see the fruits of the success. So, in earnest, we are beginning the coastal corridor with a loan arrangement which has been consummated from the ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development. As we speak, the procurement process for both the consultant and the contractor, that process has begun. So much is being done in this sector. And that's what I said to you. We are now working on about 400 kilometers of roads in our network, unprecedented in the history of our country.
In a first-term government.
For the first term of a given government. Now, when you see this, even in your community, even in your district or in your county. And all of the emphasis is not on paved roads alone. Working along with our development partners, especially the Americans and the Swedish government, we are able to rehabilitate hundreds of kilometers of lateral roads in Bong, in Nimba, in Lofa, in the southeast. These projects are ongoing as we speak. And our people who live in those communities can attest to what we are saying, that the farm to market roads are being built, and that the primary roads are being built. This is not to suggest that we still do not have challenges.
So, Mr. Minister, can we go a little bit to the Ganta, Tapeta to Zwedru? That corridor is a key corridor as part of the coastal corridor that the government talked about.
And that's one of the most critical corridors in the road network of our country. It's a corridor that spans about 225 kilometers. That is from Ganta to Tapeta, and from Tapeta to Zwedru. It's one of the most critical. What is the problem with this corridor? What is government doing? Or are we just sitting supinely and doing nothing?
Right.
Government is engaged with the World Bank and other development partners to be able to fund, working with the private sector, to be able to fund this corridor pavement and reconstruction. Now, where are we in this process? It's divided into two phases. Phase 1 is from Ganta to Tapeta, and phase 2 is from Tapeta to Zwedru. We are now in the final stages of selecting a contractor for phase 1, which is from Ganta to Tapeta. And as soon as that contractor is procured and construction works begin, then we go on with the procurement process for phase 2. And all of this is happening under the aegis of the World Bank and the government of Liberia. So yes, the project is on course, but let us not forget, we as a country do not have the resources to do these major corridors on our own. So what the government can then do is to reach out to partners. And I say this to you freely. Our international development partners do have implicit confidence in this government. And that's manifested by their support to the road sector. Since we've been here, there has been increased level of support to the road sector. That's how come we are doing the Sanukule Locato road. That's how come the Ganta Tapeta road is on course. That's how come IBID is giving us loans. That's how come our Arab friends, the OPEC Fund for International Development, Badia, the Saudi Fund, the Kuwaiti Fund, that's how come they are funding.
Lots of funding coming.
That's how come they are funding the road from Banga to Salaye. They now agreed to extend it from Salaye to Konya and from Konya to Vonjima. And the African Development Bank has agreed to pick it up from Vonjima to Medikoma. Okay. So there is a lot of collaboration. There's a lot of working together. But our people must understand that these major corridors are not built overnight. It's a process. But they can see with their own eyes that the process has begun.
So, Mr. Minister, before we conclude with this, some of the Southeast intervention, let's talk about the Fishtown to Harper Road, and then before we come down to Somalia Drive, Japanese corridor, and all that.
The Fishtown to Harper Road. The Fishtown is in River G County,
right?
And Harper is in Maryland County. Mm-hmm. These are two of the remotest counties in the southeast. And the road from Fishtown to Kaloke, the segment of the road that is from Fishtown to Kaloke, that road is about 70% completed in terms of pavement. And then from Kaloke to Harper is 100% completed. And that's about 130 kilometers. So you see what is happening in that region of the country, a region once considered isolated, neglected. And why are we doing projects in those regions, and not coming from Monrovia going to those regions, but coming from those regions coming to Monrovia. Because we want our people, no matter where they are, to feel a part of the whole. But if everything is centralized, what is the hope that we are giving them? You know, and all of these at times breed political difficulties. They do breed political difficulties. Because the people of the Southeast continue to feel isolated, neglected, abandoned, and they don't feel a part of the body politic through development initiatives, then the government will not be living up to the terms of the social contract between it and the people of our country. So yes, and it's not just from Fishtown to Harper. It is also coming out of the Harper people area,
right,
going to the border, the Kavala border. That is also 100% paved. So you see, these projects are all contributing, you know. But others will say, look, yes, pavement is good, but while pavement is ongoing, there are other sectors of the road, lateral sectors, that are in deployable state. What are you doing? What we are doing as a government, while we work with our international development partners on the major pavement, we are also maintaining these corridors to make the road passable. Are we able to do that 100%? We are getting there. We will not deceive our people into believing that we can fix every road in Liberia in 3 years or in 6 years. But what we can do, we will be sensitive and we will be responsive. And we will sequence our intervention on these roads. Because if we were to say that we'll do all of the roads in country within 3 years or within 6 years, that would be a classical deception. And this we don't intend to do. But they will see what we are doing. And if we have not reached your community, you will have hope that we are on our way to your community, because you see what is being done in other communities. And these roads are chosen, these major projects, these community projects are chosen with no prejudice. But we are going to the most difficult places to reach. We are going to the places where the poorest of the poor live. And we are going to the difficult slum communities, because we owe it to these people. They are also a part of Liberia.
Mr. Minister, what do you say to Jamel Francis? And for those of you who are watching this broadcast, if you have an intangible question, and I don't mean none of your gotcha questions, if your question will impact what you, even if you're watching from the USA and you have a question for the minister, just put it out here. We will ask it. What do you say to Jamel Francis, who's asking you to update him about the road leading from Diggsville to Caldwell?
Well, and this road comes from Badansville Junction, passes through Kebal, it goes into Diggsville, it intersects with the Caldwell main roads. This project is being executed by a Chinese firm called CICO, C-I-C-O. We've been able to complete this road project about 80-85%. The 15% is that portion that is in the Diggsville to Caldwell area. And the contractor has been encountering some challenges and some difficulties in completing the project.
What are those?
And so at this, and some of them have to do with payment. Some of them have to do with payment. And when we say some of them have to do with payment, that is a project that cost $30 million. And it started under the previous administration. The previous administration paid about $4 million. This administration paid about $2 million. So we still owe the contractor the other millions. So we've been negotiating with him to continue the construction works, and he will be paid, and as time goes by.
So the $7 million is outstanding.
It's outstanding as we speak. Now, so That is the issue with that road. That's the principal issue. We've got to be truthful to our people about it. But, so Mr. Minister, are you telling us that the road will remain in that state forever?
Correct. That's why someone's asking.
My answer is no. As we speak, as of 2 days ago, there is an intervention on the road. If you are to go there even today, you'll see the intervention on the road. And the intent, the objective of that intervention is to stabilize the road and make it possible to vehicular traffic. So you don't have all of the nightmarish kind of things you experience when you pass on that road.
So basically, pavement won't be there, but it will be in the form.
It will be stabilized,
accessible.
It will be stabilized. It will be possible. You have no difficulties. We cannot do pavement during the rainy season, especially the pavement on that kind of corridor. We cannot do it during the rainy season, but it will be of such that you'll not even know.
Here's another one
the kind of difficulties you're having now. So the people of Dixville, the people of Carwell, we invite you to join us on that corridor, and you'll see the work.
Another one from Lasana Sharif. He says he wants to know the plan of intervention on the Airfield Matadi Road in Senka. Why are you laughing?
No, I like the diverse.
That's a legitimate question, right?
No, that's what I'm saying.
And you have people from these different pockets where they stay.
You know, it tells me that our people do have interest in these projects. The airfield, and that's coming from the Sprigspeen airfield area, coming down to the Lagbasi area, going to the area called Fanti Town and all of that. That is a project that we are beginning in the next 2 weeks. Hopefully before then, it's a project that has been, and I'd like to bring and pay tribute to the fallen representative Mona Pena.
Okay.
Mona has been here at the Ministry of Public Works, perhaps on a weekly basis, running behind that project for our people. And we were able to put that project on the list of our projects for this fiscal year.
So she been behind you?
Oh yes. And we've been able to put it on our list for this fiscal year. Now it is sad that at the beginning of the implementation of the project, she's no more. But I must pay tribute to her for her resilience and for her patience. Because she understands, or she understood, that we are not able to pave all of the roads in the country at the same time. So we sequence our intervention. Unfortunately, now that we are about to begin that road, she's no more. But by us doing that road, in fact, will be the most effective tribute.
Are you planning, if it was paved, are you planning to give it to memorialize that road by naming it after her?
We could make that suggestion, but that would be the full determination of City Hall and Mr. President.
Ambassador Dudu Boy watching from Tokyo, Japan. He said, are there plans for Bomi County roads, the maintenance?
Yes, there are. First, we are hoping that under this new budget year, Tottenham specifically, is going to be one of the new counties that we will be paving the streets in the capital. So yes, in Tottenham we'll be paving the streets, but the main corridor is between Tottenham and Bopolo.
Okay.
That is also up for bidding as we speak. And it's up for bidding. That's between Tottenham and Bopolo.
To pave the road.
To pave that road. Oh. So the bidding process is on, and once it is concluded and resources are available, we'll begin the reconstruction of that road. But in the meantime, we've selected Tottenham as one of the next counties for intervention in the county capitals.
Okay, let's before we will pause the questions from some viewers. We're going to go back and do that. Let's talk about our zoning laws. If you see some of the places that you have markets, people just build. At one point, I hear some folks are talking that basically we don't have a residential area in Liberia no more. I know I was visiting your office the other time, and guys going out there, I attacked some of those, the citizens attacked them with machetes and all of that. What what are you doing now as a Minister of Public Works when it comes to zoning this particular our beloved Monrovia?
And to make Monrovia the kind of city I would like to see it become, to build Monrovia to the kind of city I would like to see it become. All of our people, the residents of Monrovia, those within the territorial jurisdiction of Monrovia,
right,
we must be able to respect zoning laws, zoning regulations. But unfortunately, we have a population in Monrovia now that is so indisciplined when it comes to adherence to zoning regulations. Right. So very indisciplined. You'd be surprised that people will build in waterways. People will build on alleys. And when you go to stop them, you are confronted. So in most cases, we have to travel with armed police officers just to enforce zoning regulations. People with no regard to what the law says will just indiscriminately build. And we are combating them.
And we see that all
We are combating them. We know it's difficult. We stop them, they continue. But again, I hope that through this medium and those listening to us, that we will educate ourselves. We'll conscientize our people that if we want Monrovia to be a modern city, we should start, for example, dumping garbage in the drainage system.
Right.
Connecting our sewer pipes to the drainage system. That is not the way to go. That is not the way to go. I can show you various parts of Monrovia where, because of the attitude, the indisciplined attitude of some of our people, we are having problem with the drainage system. So yes, our zoning department here is doing its best, and there are two examples I want to give you. The Marshall Junction, the road going to Marshall is blocked at the junction.
Yeah, yep. And
it's blocked.
Beautiful hotel right there.
We've been appealing to everybody who serve them the final notices. So anytime from now, our zoning people will move in there and we'll clear the area. We have to. We must.
We have to.
Then, of course, we'll talk about the Somalia Drive. People building alongside the road, the right of way that has been paid for. They're coming back there. Flowers were planted along the roadside.
Yeah, they removed.
They bring their cows and their sheep to graze them there. So they eat the flowers. You know, I mean, that's how it is. Towards the red light area right now.
I like the humor you added in this.
Yeah, on the Japan freeway. Guess what is happening?
Right.
Every morning they go to work, they have to clean garbage. Because overnight, the people bring the garbage from the communities and dump them.
And talking about that.
On the construction side?
On the construction side.
Yeah, and talking about that, it took the Japanese, I know we wrote that article, it took the Japanese to write you.
They have to write
and
me.
they stopped the contract that if your people, your citizens will continue to dump garbage in the drainage.
Even the main road surface. They will dump them there overnight.
Yeah.
And when you come to work in the morning, you have to clear the garbage before you continue the construction work. The Japanese have to write. Can you imagine? These roads belong to all of us Liberians. They want to make traveling easier for you in your community. So why don't you, by your attitude, support your government? But again, whether they do or they don't, we will enforce it. This is our statutory mandate.
Someone watching this interview will say, okay, we share all your concerns, but there are laws on the books. When you litter, there are laws on the books. You have the different measures that is under the mayor of Painesville. I understand, and all of that. There are laws on the books when you just throw trash anywhere. Why are these people not being punished? Is it a problem with political will or what?
Well, it is not why are they not being punished. I think the question would be, first, we must take the bold step of encouraging community involvement.
Okay.
sometimes it's not possible. Given the rate at which they are doing what they are doing, if you don't do something new, you may end up just arresting everybody in a given community. So the first thing that we see as a responsibility is to conscientize these people why they should not be doing that.
Right.
And in the process, yes, there can be apprehensions, there can be arrests here and there, just to serve as deterrents. But by and large, we need to educate our people.
And a holistic approach.
We need to have respect for our road infrastructure assets.
So, Mr. Minister, community involvement in this zonal process
is key.
Is key.
It's key. It's key. And we're doing this. We know it will take time, but when the flood takes place in your community, because you block the drainage, it affects everybody in the community.
Right.
If you build your house on an alley for your convenience, you of course inconvenience every other person who lives behind you and who cannot access the residence, because of your indisciplined behavior. So yes, we'll be talking to them, but at the same time, we'll be enforcing the law.
Right.
This is necessary, and this we must do.
So, Mr. Minister, let's talk a little bit about the traffic lights. We've had challenges in terms of collaborating with the police, with the Ministry of Public Works, in terms of the traffic lights. I think technically Liberia has only got 6 traffic lights. What are we doing as a country to remedy that?
Well, in a road network of 13,000 kilometers, if you have under 1,000 paved, then you can imagine the number of traffic lights we'll have. But we are procuring additional traffic lights. The procurement process is over. The contractor has been chosen. Importation is underway, and sooner rather than later, you will see the appropriate intersections and junctions of our city having the requisite traffic lights, the requisite street signs, and all of that are required. We've now begun the strapping of the streets. That project is ongoing. But again, we believe that all of this, once put in a perspective that will help us understand our response to the deficit. Take for instance, if we want to connect to a community, or want to build a road in rehab, or want to do the Soul Clinic Road, or the Banjo Road, or the Nickley Town Road, and we weigh that against maybe doing traffic lights at a given time, then it's a matter of decision making in terms of which should be done first. But at least we are at a place that we can now say we have imported lights, traffic lights, and they are coming. And even talking about the lights around town, the various streets. There is a project that is ongoing alongside the Bushra Island Rehabilitation Project, that there will be street lights from Johnson Street to the St. Paul Bridge. Okay. And in addition to that, there will also be street lights from Ewa Junction to the Snapper Hill. These are all projects that we intend to see come to fruition by Christmas this year.
Mr. Minister, let's just talk about 2 major questions that were raised by our viewers.
Okay,
one person asked about the 12th Street to
Kesele Boulevard.
To Kesele Boulevard corridor, and another person was asking about the Bali Island. Where are we with that?
Good, very good questions. The 12th Street to Kesele Boulevard, in my view as Minister of Public Works, when completed, is going to be one of the best road corridors in terms of connectivity in our country. The entire Gardensville suburb will be connected to Cinco.
Right.
So you don't have to come from the Gardensville area and go through Freeport, or go through the red light before coming back to Cinco. So that is a project of serious socio-economic significance. And so where we are with that project, The bidding process is over. A contractor has been selected, but it's a financing arrangement that is ongoing as we speak with 2 banking institutions in China. So there is a Chinese company that won the project, and it is the financing arrangement that we're into when COVID hit. And you know what happened in China and the closure of the institutions. We are hoping that we can resume the financial discussion very soon. But yes, all of the technical details have been done on the project, the designing, and all of that. So once the finances are secured from the Chinese banks with which the company is negotiating, that project will begin.
Bali Island.
Talk about Bali Island.
Right.
Bali Island, Mr. President has said, is going to be the home of modern infrastructure development in Liberia. That Bali Island you see.
So it's still on course.
It's on course. And so with assistance from the Indian government, we are going to build on the island the Mahatma Gandhi International Conference Center, International Convention Center. Right. This center will be a multi-purpose center. So a city is going to be built there where you can access just anything you want to do once you are there. And this is an assistance from the government and people of India to the government and people of Liberia as per negotiations which were initiated and concluded by His Excellency President Weah.
Right.
So the only thing that has stalled that, again, is COVID. But they've come here, their engineers have worked with our engineers, that is the Indian engineers, have worked with our engineers. We've done the designs. The designs have been certified, and all we are waiting for is just a green light to begin the construction works when the Indians come. But again, that is stalled because of COVID. So COVID really has had a paralyzing effect on the works in the road sector. But despite that, progress has been made on other corridors. But Bali Island is on course. Now, talking about this also, I like to reference the overhead interchange we've been talking about.
Right. That's where I will come in.
And this is a gift from the government and people of the People's Republic of China.
Okay.
They are given to us as an assistance, Chinese aid, the construction of 2 major, overhead bridges, you call them, overpass. We call it interchange.
Right.
In layman terms, the spaghetti bridges that you can see in the movies or when you go to other advanced countries.
Right.
So 2 of such will be constructed. One will be at the ministerial complex, and the other will be at the SKD Tottenham Boulevard intersection around the Ministry of Health. Mm-hmm. These 2 projects, the Chinese have been here, they work with our engineers, the designs of the project have been concluded upon. So we are just waiting for the Chinese to come back. They were on their way back when COVID hit. So basically, some of these projects, are stalled because of COVID, and others are ongoing despite COVID, but they are still on course.
There's another thing we need to talk about, vertical constructions. I'm talking about the Executive Mansion renovation, the new Redemption Hospital, 14 military markets, ministerial complex, the Capitol Building Annex. But I want you to talk first about the Executive Mansion renovation. We pass by this structure almost every day. When is it even going to come to fruition, this particular Executive Mansion? And if so, when?
This president, who's at the helm of the executive, will live in that Executive Mansion before the completion of this tenure. I can say that with certainty. That this president
will move at the Executive Mansion,
will operate from the Executive Mansion before the expiration of this tenure. Meaning, therefore, that we've accelerated the pace of the reconstruction of the rehabilitation works at the Executive Mansion. We know that, unfortunately, the Executive Mansion, some parts of it got gutted, a fire in 2006, thereabout, and it has been close to 15 long years since that took place. And as the home, the official home of the executive, of the chief executive of our country, this administration believes that that building will need to hasten with the renovation and rehabilitation works. I believe the renovation and rehabilitation works on those buildings have lasted too long. I mean, I can say this certainly as Minister of Public Works. And so now we are accelerating the pace of the works, and we are hoping that during the course of 2021, that Mr. President can have that building as, again, the headquarters of the political administration of our country. Now, talking about other buildings, the new Redemption Hospital is well on course. The Capitol building.
Where would that be constructed, the new Redemption Hospital?
Oh, the construction is on. The construction is on.
Yeah, I mean, for our viewers, where?
Oh, it's in the Caldwell area.
Okay.
It's in the Caldwell area. And maybe while we are talking about this, let's look forward to an opportunity where we will take you in the field.
Correct.
And across the country.
That would be great.
And talk about the projects. And while talking about the projects, you also have an opportunity to show the projects to your many viewers.
Right.
So it's up to you. Come, let's arrange it with our people from the communications and documentation department of our ministry. And that'll be great. So the new Redemption Hospital is being built, is on course. The Capitol building annexes have been completed. They were dedicated.
Right.
The ministerial complex is also in full use. That was dedicated. If we talk about, of course, a number of markets across the country have been built. A number of homes look for low-income earners. I mean, evidence is all over the place. Even here in Monrovia, we had a situation in Popo Beach. Structures were built, and just all over the country. And all this, again, is to give true meaning to the President's commitment that infrastructure development certainly remains his legacy.
There's this viewer from the U.S., one Emmanuel JJ. He has a couple of farms in Lofa, and he's asking me, can you please ask the minister, will the road from Weah to the Makona River at the Guinea border be repaired or paved, or will there be a bridge on that particular river?
Well, the major project we have in Lofa, the major road project that we have in Lofa, especially for pavement, is from Vonjiman straight to Medikoman. From Vonjiman to Medikoman. And so if now he would know the coordinates of his farm and all of that.
Right.
So if it is on the way between Vonjiman and Medikoman, then my answer to you is yes. What you're asking about will take place once it is along that corridor. But again, as we go along, can we explain to you these projects that are being done?
Right.
One of the things that we want all of us to consider is the depth from whence we've come.
Right.
We have to put that into perspective. We've come from too far behind as a country when it comes to the road sector. And so sometimes it's like a drop on a hot stone, or like a drop in a mighty ocean. You don't see it, you don't feel it.
Right.
But certainly we are glad and we are happy, very well elated that with the support of Mr. President, with the support of our international development partners, we are making visible, substantive efforts to improve the road sector of our country, and not just in certain parts of the country, but we'll decentralize our intervention so that our people everywhere will have a taste of something.
Mr. Minister, I want you to talk a little bit about the Hotel Africa and the Ducal Palace Hotel. These are two important public infrastructure that the Liberians are looking up to having back on course. And then
if
there are plans to get it back on course.
Yeah, the National Investment Commission, you recall, Mr. President visited the Hotel Africa, the Unity Conference Center, in fact.
Right.
And he mandated the National Investment Commission to go out there and explore the possibility of having investors coming to work with us in country to resuscitate, those viable investments. Because if you talk about the Hotel Africa, for example, you know from history, just very recent history, how important that facility has been to the hotel industry in our country. If you talk about the Unity Conference Center, I recall when I served as senator, when the Capitol building was being renovated, the entire legislature relocated to the Unity Conference Center. And we conducted business from there. So those are important structures that we need to maintain. But where they are now, they need rehabilitation, and then we can put them into full use. But yes, there are a lot of structures around town, even the National Housing and Savings Bank building. These are structures that we need to take care of. Because Mr. President has said that, look, whatever project that was started for the benefit of the Liberian people, this administration will not abandon. We will take it to its logical conclusion. This is what we call true commitment to your people. Because in the past, there's a lot of evidence around here. We've seen projects that were abandoned, by succeeding administrations.
Correct.
Because those projects were initiated by previous administrations. And this is not, of course, in the DNA of this administration.
And so we go to Ducor.
Of course, the Ducor Palace Hotel, Euphoric, the National Investment Commission, again, has been working with a number of institutions and a number of business entities that have expressed interest. And I think that process is on, but the National Investment can better speak to the status of.
Let me ask you this, Honorable Minister. I know we're getting to the end of this particular interview. Drainages, Liberian confused drainages and sewages. Who controls what? What do you control? Before I ask the question.
Well, the thing about it is, and with my experience also as a former Deputy Managing Director for Technical Services at the Liberia Water and Sewage Corporation, I can certainly say that one of the serious challenges we have in country is with our sewage system.
Right.
Liberia, Monrovia as a city, our entire sewage system has collapsed. And so in most instances,
it's a collapse because it's clogged.
It's virtually non-existent.
Okay.
Fiaman, where you used to dump your
waste,
your sewage waste, is no longer operable. All of the lift stations around are no longer operable.
Wow.
So what is happening, which is so
we're basically living in waste.
Yeah, basically everybody reverting to, to septic tanks, and you have the suction truck from the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation will come and dislodge, and all of that. That's what we have. So we do not have a workable, viable sewage system.
Where do they dump?
No, they now go to Fiaman. But in the past, there used to be a system
that drag everything.
So we don't have that. That's one of the things that we need, certainly in this country. I know the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation, when I was there, did a lot of studies. And I know right now they are trying to see how we can access resources, working again with our development partners for this to happen. So guess what is happening? Sometimes in central Monrovia, when these structures are built, they connect their sewage system to the drainage, so they just open the line, and when you flush
illegally,
not even illegally, I mean wrong, it shouldn't be done at all.
Right,
it's wrongly done. So when you flush your commode on your third floor building or your second floor building, or even your first floor building, it empties straight into the drainage. So if you were to look at Kerry Street, Curly Street, Rango Street, Benson Street, so then you see an upsurge of feces.
Yeah.
Where the feces coming from? That's supposed to be a drainage.
Wow.
So in the drainage, there becomes an unpleasant and uncomfortable encounter with feces. So this is the kind of situation we have. Experts, urban planners, experts have said that Monrovia has overgrown its intended population. So these are some of the attendant consequences, that we have when you have such a situation. But again, it has now become our responsibility to respond to this kind of situation.
Right.
So we keep our drainage system clean. The major channel that is here, Soniwang, is also helping us. So a lot needs to be done. But I believe every day has its own issue that must be dealt with. And gradually we will begin to address all of these issues.
Mr. Minister, I am very much interested in tourism.
Tourism, okay.
Yeah. And so you talked about the Bali Island, and you talked about the new city that the president envisioned to have on the Bali Island. What do we expect? Is it just going to be a conference hall, or we're going to have restaurants, we're going to have hotels there? Are we going to get some investors who are going to invest?
Like a plan.
What do we expect?
The current plan is first, it's going to be a multi-purpose facility.
Okay.
And outside those facilities, for example, there will be, like what you're talking about, supermarkets will be there, business centers, cinemas, restaurants, and the places that you go and you be able to access whatever you like to access. A small city, but with everything that you need to have. So you don't have to leave Bali Island and want to go to Broad Street to buy.
Okay.
So you're on Broad Street, you're on Broad Street. When you come to Bali Island, the facilities, and the structure and the infrastructure will be of such that they can quench your thirst in terms of wanting to buy whatever you like to buy. Yeah.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Is there something you care to talk about, your final parting comments to the people watching you?
Well, I know that you journalists many a times ask this question at the end, but firstly, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for providing this platform that I'm convinced that serves as an important, very, very important medium, for the dissemination of information to our people, no matter where they are. I hope we can do this as frequently as possible.
Correct.
Under this breath, we may not be able to explain everything that is taking place in the road sector, but we cannot end this interview without thanking our international development partners for the confidence, the implicit confidence that they've reposed in this administration, and which is manifesting itself, through their funding of major road projects. The African Development Bank remains our foremost contributor to the road sector of our country.
Correct.
The European Investment Bank, the European Union, the American government, the Swedish government, the German government, the British government, and many others who are not leaving out anybody.
The Kuwaitis,
of course, the Kuwaitis, the Saudis, Badia, OFIT, the ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development,
right?
Various banks across the continent, in Asia, in Europe, that have confidence in the system here and that are supporting us. We think that they are doing their best. Even the Nigerians, who are helping also in financing some of our projects. We think that this is very, very, very commendable. We must, above all, thank EBIT, the ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development, for it is truly operating, as a bank that caters to infrastructural concerns in the ECOWAS sub-region.
Finally, we
want to thank Mr. President for his support, not just ordinary support, but tangibility of the support that he gives to this sector is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. And sometimes you see Mr. President will go around to visit road projects. We believe that this in itself is a form of support to the work that we do, because that way he keeps our feet to the fire. And that way, it helps us to do our work and to do it better. So we want to thank him. We want to thank the legislation of our country for ratifying those important instruments which enable us to access loan facilities and to access grants. We want to thank our banking institutions here, the UBA, the EcoBank, the LBDR, International Bank, the GM Bank, GT Bank, Access Bank, all of these banking institutions that are helping our local contractors. You're just asking me about the involvement of Liberian construction contractors. These banks are making it possible by putting at their disposal loan facilities, which are helping them, to get involved in the industry. We want to thank our contractors. Because most of the work that we do here, we do it through our contractors. We want to thank them for their commitment to job under difficult circumstances. On COVID, we're able to obtain security passes and continue with the works. Because considering the gap in this sector, if we were to sit just for 1 month, you can imagine, how that will reverse some of the gains we've made. I want to thank our colleagues at the various ministries, and over and above, I want to thank all of our ministers here at the Ministry of Public Works, our directors, our engineers, and our entire workforce. For whatever success you see, for whatever success you hear about, it has been made possible through the sacrifices of the workforce here at the ministry. And we are happy. We take seriously our responsibility. For 2 times, 2018 and 2019, we've been graded and rated as the best performing ministry. His Excellency, Mr. President, has even graded us as the best performing ministry. Not only has he graded us, he has given us a prize, a cash prize. For our work, we like to assure him that we will continue to do our best. We'll continue to maximize whatever minimum resources we have, so that at the end of the day, the Liberian people can truly say, what more do you want this president to do, especially in the road sector? Thank you, and God bless.
Being a Minister of Public Works, these are huge, huge shoes that you fill up. Before you leave, who is Mabutu Nyimpan? And what do you rate yourself with regard to people who your predecessors back all over going through? But when you leave this particular job, how you want to be remembered?
Well, now Mabutu Nyimpan, an analysis of him can be in various perspectives.
For this work.
Generally, I hail from Sino. I like to emphasize this. I hold a degree in civil engineering. I hold another degree in law. And I hold another degree in international relations. I've served in a few public capacities. I worked at the City Hall for many years. I worked at the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation as a deputy managing director. I worked with the United Nations as an engineer. I worked with a USAID-funded project called AFESH, also as an engineer. I worked with the Liberia Petroleum Refining Company as deputy managing director for administration. I served the people of Sino County as a senator for 9 consecutive years. In my life, I have known 2 political parties. For many, many years, I've been a member of the United People's Party until 2017, when I joined Congress for Democratic Change, now in the Coalition for Democratic Change under this arrangement. A former student leader at the University of Liberia. I come to the Ministry of Public Works as a team player, as a pragmatic leader, a leader who listens. I don't come here by pretending to be the best engineer in the country. No, I'm not. There are others who know it better. I consult, we hold meetings. Arrogance is not a part of what we do here. And that is why you see we score the kind of success we score in the field. Our primary concern and preoccupation is to make the best use of whatever minimum we have, and to put our all into it. That is why you see that we go the extra mile. We take affirmative actions to ensure that things happen, and we don't follow the normal bureaucracy, because Mr. President has said, let there be a paradigm shift in the road sector, and for this to happen, there must be a paradigm shift in our attitude towards project implementation, etc., etc. So again, this is the man Mobutu Nyempon.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, and thanks for being a part of this show.
All right, if you're just joining me, this is Deputy Minister Fagon. Go ahead and share this video. Work is continuing on the RRA highway. As you can see, you know exactly, again, it's easy to talk. But imagine after the streetlight lighting ceremony, you can see, let nobody tell you, East is on this hill. There's some name attached to the hill. You look at it, work is ongoing. So Honorable Nathaniel Fallow McGill is out here today, working with the East Company as road construction continues on the RIA highway. So this is not fiction, this is fact. I am live. Take the time on a Sunday to celebrate. I'll spend time with our family, or families. We have the Minister of State, Honorable Nathaniel Fallow McGill, out here on the RIA corridor, and clearly you can see work being done. The PAPD is on course. The reason why I'm out here, like I always do, is that I've said before and I'll say it again. We're outnumbered. We got too many radio stations. We got too many television stations, and as a government we only have one. So when we tell you that these things are happening, you doubt. And sometimes you say, no, it's not. I clearly see. So again, Fallow is getting in the Jeep, and I'll keep the cameras rolling because now we're about to go down on the road. So clearly you see the East Company. Look at their trucks. That's truck number 10. That's truck number 11. So it tells you there's so many trucks. In the background there, let me see if I can zoom in on the other truck over there. There's a white one in the back. That's truck number 20. And the reason why I'm zooming in, because you had people running propaganda. So I'm going to zoom in on our truck. I'm going to zoom in on it. I'm going to try my best to zoom in on the number of the truck. All right, that machine is blocking my view. But I'm going to zoom in on it for a reason. Clearly you can see the number on the truck is 20. I'm going to zoom some more. See it there? Truck number 20. And that tells you that they've brought in massive amounts of equipment Sagboli. So again, I don't need to zoom in on the trucks. You can see the numbers. That tells you we're working. Honorable Fallow McGill is in the truck right now. We're going back on the road. I'm not going to cut off the cameras. So stay with me. You guys are many. Share the video. You don't have to be from the opposition or the CDC side to share this video. All you have to do is share it because you are a Liberian, so that your friends can also see that your country is being reconstructed, is being rebuilt. And remind you now, I shoot, that this corridor will have street lights like you see in the Sincor area. So they are working. The reason of, we want to show you the road. This is the road at night that no one wants to travel on. It's notorious for some of the most gruesome accidents. Clearly you can see what this president is trying to do. I'll show you the road, I'll show you the level of work. Some of these structures will be removed. Some of the people have been compensated, others will be compensated. Street light poles, but the actual light poles, the wooden poles that and the reason why we're showing it to you, because they're getting ready to remove them and push them behind, because it's going to be a 4-lane highway. So clearly if you see the light poles in your shot, don't panic, they're going to be pushed back. Those light poles you're picking up in your shots, they're going to be moved back because it's a 4-lane road and they want it wide enough. Very, very wide enough. So again, there are lots. Thank you all for the congratulations. Like I said, Honorable Nathaniel Fallow McGill himself, there's no Sunday or Saturday that he goes to church, he worships, but he's working because he's against time when it comes to development. Always, even the next 12 years, he will be against time. So clearly you can see the light poles will be removed and dressed all the way back. You see they clear all these areas, they clear them out. And then you see the trucks, they're hauling the dirt. They're going to fill them in. Of course, they have to give our people some time to leave. You know, even if you give them 6 months and pay them all the money you can, they will still take at least a year before they get out. So we're on course. Just look at the roads. In your shot, this is the international highway for Liberia, and if it makes you angry, then you should appreciate the President of the Republic of Liberia for his farsightedness. Clearly you can see no lights, no electricity along this route, noted for its gruesome accidents, bad road condition, as you can see right there. So imagine being a millionaire and coming into the city. Imagine being a millionaire and coming into the city. Touching down at the Roberts International Airport at about 10 or 11 o'clock at night and having to drive in total darkness and fear of not knowing where you're going. Not knowing where you're going, you're afraid. The people who invited you to the country may be trying to cheer you up, but your path to the capital city is extremely dark and it puts you in utter fear. But the president is far-sighted, and so he says it's time to give us an international road with street lights, and the path of the road should reflect. I show you truck number 20, I show you truck number 10 and truck number 12. So we shouldn't be arguing as to whether this road, and now this right here tells you exactly what's going on. Again, Follow McGill himself is on the trail. You see what they're doing here. This is actuality. This is reality. The RIA corridor is being constructed. Clearly you can see there's no Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's now every day. As the president said, there's no room for error. And we need to clearly tell everyone that the East Company is working extremely hard to get this road ready. And those of you who lived in America, I think you see 211 Maple Road, MA Clover Farm. So, yeah, I'm gonna turn on the fuel. So, again, we're not talking politics. We're not seditions and opposition and other parties. No, we are Liberians. And we have to be grateful, very, very grateful for the level of work that's been done on the RIA highway. So imagine following these container trucks on this highway and overtaking and not even understanding where you're going. This is our country. We need to learn to appreciate ourselves, and most so the president and his team. Clearly you can see the RIA road. In less than 3 years, this is the argument I continue to make. In less than 3 years, this government have done more. And everyone admits, the question is, why haven't they told us? The real answer is not that they haven't told you. You're just not listening. Do you see? Yep. They're filling up. They're filling up. So there we go. But where they park is the best place to park there. Oh yeah, right in the town there. Right here. So if you're just joining me, we're trying to show you that His Excellency is working overtime. There's no Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday or Thursday. It's now every day. And like he said, there's no room for error. And so Sunday, they're working because they will not allow an error to happen. Again, if you're just joining me, it's Honorable Nathaniel Follow McGill on his afternoon work. He's talking to some of the town people, moving from one part to the other part. Oh, okay. Chief, you gotta close that door because the truck coming through so. This is truck number 10 arriving. We're showing you truck number 10 arriving. work is ongoing. We can talk politics, but today let's be Liberians. Just as we went along with the street lights, we want to appraise you of the work that's going on, and we want you to buy into the idea that for the first time, the RIA corridor will now see the light of day as an international highway. Town people have gathered just to watch. Y'all going up, CG? Where Mr.
Yeah.